Welcome to the Sage Thought Leadership Podcast. Financial professionals, let's move forward together.
Well, hi, everyone, and welcome to our podcast. I'm Ed Kless, and with me today is Andy Nunez. Andy is an industry leader with extensive expertise in operational and sales domains, specializing in ERP consulting and ISVs. His M&A career started in 1997 with ePartners, eventually leading to the co-founding of NexTec Group. As SWK Technologies CRO, he increased revenue from $7 million to $50 million and was pivotal in 17 acquisitions and aided SWK's NASDAQ listing and Mapadoc sale. Currently, as president and CEO of Scanco, he is guided its sale to Firmament Partners, a PE firm, and he continues focusing on driving Scanco's organic growth, strategic acquisitions in collaboration with Firmament. Welcome back, I should say, to the Sage Thought Leadership Podcast, Andy Nunez.
Ed, great seeing you, man.
Well, first off, Andy, why do you do what you do?
Well, I am a creature of habit, yet I really like something new every day. And our business, it's especially in the ERP side of it, it's a repetitive business. The solution is the same, but the customers are all different. And so I think it's a unique proposition as a career where you can actually, have the security of something that you do every day, and you know how to do it. You learn how to do it really well, yet in a new flavor, and it's a different customer, a different reality to them every single day. And that, to me, that's exploration. I was archaeology, art history major in college, and I thought that was going to be my career. It's kind of the same thing. The methodology of excavation and the discipline of the methodology of archaeology is repetitive and boring, but the exploration is exciting. And of course, in doing that, it clearly led me to the software industry. I mean, it was a clear path for me.
You went from spelunking to data spelunking, so to speak.
Yeah, right, exactly. A different trowel.
So, Andy, I want to explore this thing that happened with you at Scanco in the last 2 years, and that is you were acquired by the PE firm, as we mentioned in the intro. What's been the impact of that on your team?
Well, when I was brought here almost 3 years ago now, Sean and Tess Boros, the owners, were looking to exit. And one of the discussions we had up front was that we weren't just going to sell to the highest bidder. And I give them tons of credit for actually holding to that. We had offers that, were not the same kind of offers that Firmament gave us, yet Firmament's complete solution was better. And the reason why is because I wanted to be transparent with the team about acquisition. There's nothing more nerve-wracking to a company to know that, the people who founded the company, the owners, your family are leaving. And there's going to be a new owner and you don't know who they are and whether or not your job's going to be safe, et cetera. And so I think it's critical in that kind of thing. And a lot of companies don't do this. A lot of people, when they look to be acquired, they kind of hide the fact that that's going on because they're afraid that, people will jump ship because there's no permanency. And that was a risk with our team, but we didn't have any of that. Not anybody that I regret seeing go. So I wanted to make sure it was transparent. And because of that, it's almost like in July when the transaction happened, a switch just went on because the team said, "Okay, we're ready to go." They've been working toward this for over a year or 2 years, and they were just ready to go. And so we hit the ground running. And in a big way in the last 6 months.
Was there a lot of conversation, I suppose, and even work done on meshing the cultures of the organization together? I have to think that's other than am I going to have my job is the culture of the organization going to change?
Well, my big mantra, our culture is our brand, right? And culture is, collectively what we celebrate or collectively what we tolerate, Ed, and Firmament's culture, selecting Firmament because they knew supply chain, they understood our world, and they had done this. And their objectives for us are not for us to be $1 billion organization. It never were. Their objectives were aligned with ours. They want to see our growth be measured and smart. And then they gave us a war chest to go and acquire people for non-organic growth. And then they said, guys, go do it. They've given me the reins to say, okay, now granted, we're still in the honeymoon period, but the fact is, they gave us the reins. They looked at our team. They evaluated where our strengths and weaknesses are. They did make suggestions on where we could subsidize and hire people to fill gaps in the organization, and we've done a lot of that. I mean, we've hired 16 people in the last 6 months, which is almost double the organization size. That's going to change culture, right? And the thing is that when you do that, like anything else, like acquisitions, you have to be ready for that assimilation, because no matter what, the people that come on are going to impact the culture. Period. Full stop. No matter how aligned they are with you, there's going to be a slight deviation, right? And that's going to be a good thing, and it should be a good thing, because if you pick the right people, they're helping you build that path. And so Firmaments has been very aligned with that. And yeah, we've taken some minor course corrections, but they've all been good ones. They've all been ones that I say, wow, that makes a lot more sense than what I was thinking before.
I never thought about it this way, but you saying in almost doubling the size of the company, it was almost like an acquisition, but just happening 1/16 at a time.
Yeah, exactly. And then we made an acquisition in December that, added more people, even more people to the group. And the thing about it is that, it's kind of unique in that you're right. We're just the dust was just settling on the growth that we had just gone through, and it really hasn't settled yet, right? And then we went out and got another group, and they actually plugged in really nicely, into the e-commerce components. But Ed, we filled gaps in just about every part of the business. So, I mean, the people that we've hired have filled positions that didn't exist, and then backfilled positions that existed we needed bandwidth on. And so, it really was like, creating another business, except we got to choose the people we were hiring, right? Instead of buying a lump sum of people, that maybe are good or bad.
And Andy, we have an exit question that we ask all of our guests, and that is, who is a hero of yours and why are they a hero?
Well, it's funny. You asked me this and I thought about it. My favorite person in the world besides my wife and is my neighbor. She's a 96-year-old, greatest generation, fought the Nazis, social activist, gets up at the crack of dawn, comes back at twilight, is registering voters to this day. And, she's a retired professor, and she's just a wonderful lady. And she is a delight to be around and still sharp as a tack. And, but the thing that inspires me most about her is that she doesn't fear death in any way. She reminds me of that phrase, good death only comes from a good life. And she doesn't fear death because she has zero regrets about her life. And she'll openly talk about it. She's like, hey, this is the last presidential election I'm going to vote in. And that, to me, brings it home, Ed. All of a sudden, I think about my mortality, and I'm like, wow, if I were in that place where I knew that there was no changing, there's no looking past the fact that I am going to die. And I had no regrets. And I truly felt like I had really lived my life well and therefore had no fear of ending it. To me, is impressive. The definition of hero, I think, comes in two forms. It's the person who jumps on the grenade, right, in the moment, makes a decision. Or it's the person that makes those decisions over a body of work, their entire lifetime. I think not to say that person who jumps on the grenade is any less, but in that moment, you are forced to make a decision. Over the course of a lifetime, making smaller decisions and making them right, I think takes a lot more character. And if you can do that, and if we're all lucky enough to get to the point where Jess is at 94 years old, to look back and to say, wow, I did it all right, to the point that I don't regret anything about, and the potential of dying, or I don't fear it, to me, that's inspiring in a big way. So,
and lastly, Andy, how can somebody contact you?
Okay. You can email me at andrew.nunez, N as in November, UNEZ, at scanco.com, SCANCO.com, Scanco, Andrew M. Nunez, Scanco.com, or just go to our website, scanco.com.
All right. Andy Nunez, President and CEO of Scanco, thanks for being a guest on the Sage Thought Leadership Podcast.
Thanks, Ed.
Review and subscribe by searching your podcast player of choice for Sage Thought Leadership Podcast.